Buried beneath what was once known as the City of Angels lies a dark secret. A dark secret that outdates even the name of the city itself. Los Angeles, California has always been known for its sun-drenched beaches and its smog-filled air, not to mention its overwhelming level of diversity. Just about every ethnic group to have walked the earth can be found in what is now known as the City from Hell. So what exactly brought the City of Angels down to the level of hell we all know and see today? Believe it or not, there may be a very good reason for such a massive fall. In order to understand what may have contributed to this rise and fall of the once great metropolis, we must take a step back into the past. In 1934, the city of Los Angeles's public officials were first made aware of the city's dark past. They were told that the city known as the City of Angels may have a dark background. They were told that the city may have once been the site of an ancient and bizarre civilization, a civilization of lizard people. According to the official reports, which were first publicized in an article in the Los Angeles Times entitled "Lizard People's Catacomb City Hunted." According to the report, long before the United States were the United States, an advanced civilization of lizard beings built many underground cities, some estimated to be over 3,000 years old, cities that span throughout the western United States. Now, according to the Hopi Indian nation, these ancient creatures lived over 3,000 years ago, all over what is now known as the United States. The Hopi have shared these stories of an ancient race of lizard people, dating as far back as to the first recorded European contact with the Hopi in 1540, when Spanish General Francisco Vázquez de Coronado came to the Northern Americas to explore the land. Evidence beyond hearsay and folklore had been hard to find. That was until a self-described engineer and amateur miner briefly heightened its possibility of actually existing. With his high-tech device, he claimed to have found evidence of their lost city. He believed he had located the Lost Lizard City under the site of a former military fort near downtown. His discovery would become big news in the growing city and spark excitement amongst the growing population. G. Warren Shelt was the man that had the evidence. Shelt was a geophysicist and mining engineer, but he was also something of an inventor, with his heart set on finding the America's lost treasures. Some accounts claim that Shelt was simply another miner in search of oil and gold and nothing more. After all, LA was a major oil producer at the time, and there were plenty of rumors that there were gold in the many hills in and around the city. According to Shelt, he told the Los Angeles Times he discovered a vast system of tunnels under Los Angeles. Tunnels that stretched from Central Public Library on 5th Street to Chavez Ravine, the site where the present-day Dodger Stadium is now located. Shelt stated he used a self-modified radio X-ray device, a device he claimed could, without uncertainty, detect the presence of minerals and tunnels below the surface of the ground. According to the LA Times article, the device was a pendulum, suspended within a glass cylinder. It also had several compasses on the outside and a copper wire that acted as the eyes for the operator of the system. How it acted as an eye was never fully explained. Shelt was quoted as saying, "My radio X-ray pictures of the tunnels and rooms, which are subsurface voids. The images are of rooms with perfect corners, sides, and ends. This is scientific proof of their existence." According to Shelt, Chief Greenleaf had told him stories of how the lizard people in the West had built several underground cities in American West, Mexico, and Central America. He learned that the lizard people had built their great cities to escape a great catastrophe. According to the original Times article, the Great Catastrophe was in the form of a huge tongue of fire which came out of the southwest, destroying all in its path. What Shelt learned, according to Chief Greenleaf's account, was that the city was possibly one of 5 cities on the Pacific coast. It was created with the use of chemicals rather than conventional digging tools. The cities were done in such a way that when the ocean tides would pass in and out of the lower tunnels, this would cause the air to be forced up into the upper tunnels, providing a ventilation system. The hills above this underground city housed over 1,000 families, and the catacombs supplied imperishable foods and herbs to help the lizard people to live for a long period of time underground. He also learned that the lizard people had a mode to their infrastructure plan. They believed lizards symbolized longevity. Thus, they designed their city grids in the shape of giant lizards. When Shelt returned to speak with Chief Greenleaf about his latest findings, he also told him about what he believed he had also discovered. Shelt told the chief that he also thinks he found gold.
I'm rich! I'm wealthy! Yahoo!
It was at that time Chief Greenleaf told Shelt about the 37 golden tablets, which summarized the life and death of the lizard people and would surely prove their existence to others. It was at this time Shelt claimed Chief Greenleaf supplied a map of the exact location of the entrance to the underground city. Greenleaf advised him to look for the city near a series of mountains near Fort Moore Hill. Fort Moore Hill is the site of an abandoned military fort that dates back to the days of the Mexican-American War. Today, the fort is memorialized by the Fort Moore Pioneer Memorial, a stone mural on Hill Street along the south side of Grand Arts High School in Los Angeles. Shelt convinced the city to allow him to start his excavating near the hills off of North Hill Street. There, he and his assistants drilled 250 feet below the surface in hopes of finding the entrance to the tunnels. However, the search ultimately yielded no entrance, nor did it yield any treasure. According to the official reports, digging came to an end when Shelt's team drilled through an undetected water table and flooded the caverns. The flooding ultimately ended Shelt's attempts to find the lost city of lizard people, or their said-to-be treasure. Ultimately, Shelt's attempt failed to produce definitive evidence. The excavation quickly ended and faded into the city's history. Even Shelt and his device became obscure footnotes to the city's lore. So, were the stories of lizard people under Los Angeles just a convenient cover to an even more sinister objective? Is it possible that a treasure was in fact found, buried, and hidden under Los Angeles? Maybe a treasure that did not belong to any lizard people, but did in fact belong to someone else. Before Fort Moore Hill was Fort Moore Hill, or even Los Angeles for that matter, it was home to another people, the Tongva. No, the Tongva were not lizard people, but what they were was the indigenous people to the lands of Los Angeles, California, covering approximately 4,000 square miles. The Tongva were the most influential people at the time of European encounters. They had developed an extensive trade network. Their vibrant food and material culture was based on an indigenous worldview that positioned humans as one strand in a web of life, as expressed in their creation stories. In 1848, California was ceded to the United States. Following the Mexican-American War, the U.S. government signed 18 treaties between 1851 and 1852, promising 8.5 million acres of land for reservations. However, these treaties were never ratified by the Senate. The US had negotiated with people who did not represent the Tongva and had no authority to cede their land. During the growing occupation of their lands, many of the Tongva and other indigenous peoples were targeted with arrest. Unable to pay fines, they were used as convict laborers in a system of legalized slavery to expand the city of Los Angeles for the new occupants, who were quickly becoming the new majority in the area by 1880, when the Tongva people realized what was becoming of their lands and their homes. They decided they would try and preserve their culture and their history by burying their treasures under the ground. Under the ground, all over what is now Los Angeles.
There was this chief of this village who gathered all his people together, and he asked them, what do we need to do to continue preserving our culture so that it'll never become extinct? And so all the people from the village are saying, well, let's hide it. And he says, well, hide it? Hide our culture. Where do we hide it? And they go, well, let's hide it in the riverbeds. Let's hide it under the rocks. Let's hide it under the trees.
So, is it possible that the story of lizard people was nothing more than a cover-up? A cover-up to hide the real search and findings from the public and from the Tongva people. Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment below and let us know what you have to say. Were the Tongva people cheated out of their own people's left behind treasures, hidden under a story of lizard people in Los Angeles? You be the judge.
This has been the Confidential Report. For even more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel today. And please show your support by clicking the like button on this video. For even more stories and news you deserve to know the truth about, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching the Confidential Report.